with another video for the channel. Welcome back to DAB Sports Zone. And I got one of my co-hosts back on the channel. Abdullah, how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. How are you, man?
Doing well. We started on time this time because I know that's a concern for a lot of folks out there. Although, it's not always our fault, but we have a problem with that. I get it. So we started on time tonight. Bro, we have so much to talk about. I mean, we got Wizards stuff to talk about. Middle of Summer League right now. Obviously, Commanders stuff, 90th anniversary this year. A lot of stuff has been unveiled this week for how they're going to celebrate the 90th season of this Washington franchise. Also got some DC United news as well. Juan Soto, Nationals. Bro, I think it's only right to start with the Beal talk because I know you had a video last week and I had my reaction on our Instagram story, DMB Sports on our Instagram. But I want to get your quick thoughts once again on the whole Beal extension with the Wizards. Also, his thoughts or his words during the press conference, right? Talking about how he wants to bring a championship to DC. He thinks he can bring a championship to DC. What are your thoughts on all that?
Maybe like in 2K, but in real life, dude, come on, man. Like this, first of all, let's talk about the contract. Aside from however million, a lot of money.
251.
No trade clause? Like he's like the 10th NBA player all time to get and that list was like
all time.
Bro, like his agent deserves a raise. That's one thing. Another thing, and I'll keep saying it, guys, Bradley Beal, a great player, but at the end of the day, he's not a number one option on a championship team. And now he wants us to win a championship. Like I understand the East might not be as strong as compared to the West, but at the end of the day, like we're the Wizards. Like success for the past recent years, ever since that John Wall injury and everything's been collapsing. And now Bradley Beal wants to bring a championship. He just wants the bag. Let's be honest. Really nothing much else said. And I really think that peak Bradley Beal, all he could do is take us to maybe past the first round. If we're lucky, maybe the second. But I don't think so.
Yeah, there's some things that we don't agree on when it comes to the world of sports, but this is something that we are in lockstep on. I mean, can you blame him though? The fact that he wanted the money. I mean, that's generational wealth, $251 million. In my opinion, if I were ever given that opportunity to have a contract like that, like it's not that I would want that money for myself. It's that I would want to save it and, use it for future generations and stuff. So I completely get what Bradley Beal did there in signing the dotted line and getting that contract. Sure. But on the worth that, Corey, our bro, we got to get you on the channel again. But yeah, here for the Carson. We'll get to that a little bit later. But talking about Bradley Beal right now. And yeah, I agree with you, bro. I think the furthest we're going to get with Bradley Beal, I don't care what people call me, hater or whatever, is the second round. I'm sorry. This Wizards team is not good. I said that at the start of last season before inexplicably I got convinced by Abdullah that we were better than what we were when we weren't. And I will say the same thing this offseason. I remember when we posted that poll on our IG story before last season asking fans like whether they thought the Wizards were going to make the playoffs, and I think it was 54 or 55% no. And I was one of the people who clicked no. And I don't think the Wizards are going to make the playoffs this year, especially with the East being pretty stacked now. I think it's fair to say they're the more stacked conference right now over the West, which wasn't really the case before last season for the last 4 or 5 years. So, yeah, man, I'm glad that, we have a star on the Wizards, right? Like, I feel like that's sort of needed when it comes to, being a fan of a particular team. But at the end of the day, I would have rather tanked because I think we're about to get the same amount of wins with Beal next season that we would get without him, if I'm going to be honest. I'm sorry. That might be haterish. I could care less. But the Wizards right now are playing Summer League ball. And there's one particular rookie who we drafted number 10 overall, who a lot of people are already hating on. I wasn't high on him when we drafted him. I wanted Jaden Ivey, like our boy Ed Oliver. What are your thoughts on Johnny Davis and his Summer League performance thus far? And do you think he could actually become something for us this year?
I think it's going to take time. I wish it could be an impact sooner rather than later, but he just looked so scared from the 2 games that we saw. He's just playing nervous and just turnovers that are inexcusable. I don't know, man. I just think the Wizards, if they really wanted Malcolm Brogdon, they could have traded for him, but instead you draft a young guy, and although they want to win now, I don't know. It's just the messages that the Wizards are sending are just so bipolar. Like, let's say this, Tommy Shepard will say this, and then they do this. It just very conflicting. I don't really understand it, but hey, Wizards basketball. So
Yeah, bro, I agree with you. Johnny Davis, I mean, he could become something. He does look a little scared out there on the court thus far. I mean, I'm rooting for him, always rooting for our rookies. But then again, even if he does become something, I'm sorry, guys, I don't have the Wizards making the playoffs this year. They're not a good team. I don't care how much people on Twitter want to put out the whole rotation, like tweets like, oh, this is our starting point guard, starting shooting guard, starting small forward, starting power forward, starting center. These are our backups. Oh, that's a pretty good team. We have good. The thing that blows my mind is when people say we have good depth, bro. Bro,
Gibson.
No, stop trying to convince yourself that this team is great, bro. It's not. Maybe we might sneak ourselves into the playoffs as a 8 seed or a 7 seed, potentially. But guys, this is not a good team. I mean, we need KD to save us, but honestly, we all know that's not going to happen. KD isn't built for that. But it is what it is. But last question on the basketball talk, though. LeBron teaming up with Kyrie?
Yes, it is happening. You want to know why? Because Kyrie needs LeBron. LeBron didn't need Kyrie, as a lot of people said years ago. Kyrie wanted to be the main guy. Well, look where we're at right now. As a wise man once said, look who came back to him, or whatever Thanos said in Avengers. But what I'm trying to say is Kyrie needs LeBron, and LeBron's all in on it. And Kyrie, AD, and LeBron, hopefully a healthy AD and a Kyrie that's not like, missing games due to, vaccine issues or whatever. That team will, I think they can take down the Warriors.
I think so too. We've been saying healthy AD, bro, for so many years. Bro, I mean, I'm sorry. He's kind of made a glass at this point. Like, it's very hard for Anthony Davis to stay healthy over the course of a full season. Then again, if the Lakers make it to the playoffs and AD's healthy in the playoffs, that's a different story, right? He only needs to be healthy for a fewer amount of games, but if they want to get far, he needs to be healthy long enough. So it's a whole thing. But I agree with you. If LeBron teams up, if Kyrie goes to the Lakers, I don't care what people say. We were like, oh, the Warriors have better depth. Oh, the Warriors have many stars. Bro, LeBron, Kyrie, Anthony Davis, they're probably going to add a couple pieces too, right? They already did thus far in the offseason, but I think they might not overtake the Warriors at this point, but once they develop the chemistry that we know they can develop, look out. Man, Corey with the hate. LeBrick James. LeBrick Lames. I didn't even see the second L. You know what 2 L's spells, though? Or 2 L's make, I should say, Corey. W. A W. And that is all LeBron James. All right, off the basketball talk, because I wasn't even going to get to the KD coming to the hometown team, because we know that's not happening. He's in both for that. Juan Soto, think the Nats are going to give him the bag? I mean, he made it to a home run, or not made it, but it's a home run derby next Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And also made the All-Star team as well. One Josh Bell did not make the All-Star team, unfortunately. But Juan Soto, are we going to give Juan Soto the best superstar out of Terry, Bradley Beal, and him? Are we going to give him a contract?
If Bradley Beal gets a contract, Juan Soto definitely gets a contract, guys. Literally, like the few bright spots in the Nationals currently. Just give him the money, bro. He deserves it.
Yeah, bro. I mean, short and sweet. I appreciate that, but yeah. I mean, Juan Soto deserves it, man. He's only 23, 20. I think he's 23, if not 24. I mean, it's crazy. All like the accolades that he's had. I will say this: Rep the District. I saw a bit of Nathan's video. He talked about it wasn't only Rep the District. It was a lot of people on Twitter, I'll say this, that talked about how Juan Soto low-key did not deserve this All-Star appearance given his lack of production this season. But then again, man, I mean, we've seen it go against us, right? We've seen this sort of rule with All-Star appearances, right? Like, you need notoriety. Like, you can't be an All-Star in the DC market because you need guys that are All-Stars every single year that build up that resume, and then ultimately fans keep that in the back of their mind when they're voting and stuff, and that's what leads to more All-Star appearances. Usually that works against us. But with Juan Soto, I feel like that will always work with us, especially with how everybody saw Juan Soto break out during that World Series run. So, yeah, I think Juan Soto definitely deserves the bag. the learners, I mean, the Nationals up for sale. I don't care who's owner. I think the first order of business, just like this offseason with the Washington Commanders, first order of free agency business, real free agency business, was signing Terry to a long-term extension. It has to be Juan Soto with the Nationals. But all right, to the Commanders we go. To the Commanders we go. 90 years. 90 years. From 1932, when we were the Boston Braves, to when we were the Washington Redskins, to when we were the Washington football team, and now as the Washington Commanders. This week, they unveiled a special patch on the uniform that will be shown every single week during the 2022 season. What are your thoughts on that? Let's get to that before the other 90-year commemoration that they unveiled this week, which is a little problematic, but go ahead.
Well, although it's been a great 90 years, I sadly was part of the last 20 years, or we were, and really hasn't been, much to watch or to be happy about. Well, it's good. 90 years is great, but again, I'm going to go back to this answer. Just win. I don't care what we do off the field. Just win.
Yeah. Last 25 years, I mean,
atrocious.
This team has given us nothing, bro. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, besides 10-6, no playoff win RG3 season, this team has given us nothing. People are going to say, oh, we won the division a couple of times. At 9-7 and 7-9. We haven't won 11 games. As our boy Rio, always likes to say, we haven't won 11 games in like 30 years. That is atrocious. Even the worst teams, think about the Jaguars. They made it to the AFC Championship a couple years ago. Even the worst, the Lions, I think, won 11 games, 5-6 years ago, if not more. But, I mean, within the last 15 years. 11 games. We had a 17-game schedule last year, 17-game schedule this year. I mean, let's just get to 11 games, 11 wins first before even talking about playoff run or Super Bowl or anything like that. But, yeah, I agree with you, bro. I mean, I know I talked, and I think you saw this, Abdullah, or we chatted about this, but when they were celebrating the 30 years since the last Super Bowl, B. Mitch and Finley had a special segment on their radio show, and I called in and stuff, and I told them about my years of being a fan and how young I am and all that, and they were surprised because they were like, oh, a young fan calling in. Usually when it comes to all these events and stuff, young fans tune out because they're like, oh, we weren't alive. We don't know anything about those glory days. All we know is misery and stuff. And I'll just say this. I appreciate the legends that came before us in this Washington franchise, but it's about damn time we actually win something, man, in the last 2 decades, in our lifetime, bro. This is unbelievable. This is our number one team. I think Abdul and I can firmly say that. Number one team across all sports. This is our local team. This is a team that we grew up with. This team that a lot of you guys grew up with, especially a lot of the young fans. Corey, I mean, he's only a couple years older than us, but I mean, he knows what it's like to be a fan of this team and for them to constantly let you down. And I just hope one day we win something, because I'll tell you now, if we ever win a Super Bowl, bro, I mean, besides maybe a kid or marriage, that's probably gonna be the happiest day of my life, bro. That's how it is. And I know, Abdullah, you feel the same way.
And then second day will be when Dan sells the team. We're number 1 and 2,
Yeah. Actually, no, bro. Even then, I'm sorry. I would take the NFC Championship win would probably be second for me. The steps getting to the Super Bowl, actual wins, would probably be ahead of Dan Snyder selling the team. But Dan Snyder selling the team would definitely be high up there for sure. Another thing though that this team bungled this week was the whole 90 players to celebrate 90 years, right? 90 greatest players in franchise history. Inexplicably, they left off Trent Williams, who literally, bro, it's so funny because remember that day before I made that IG story. On our DMV Sports on Instagram saying, respect the silverback. He is one of the greatest left tackles of all time, one of the greatest players in our franchise's history. I literally made that post the night before the team inexplicably left him out of their not even top 90 players. It's not like they selected 10 players to add on to the 80 players that they had in 2012, right? They had just a list of general players that we could have voted from, right? I think there were 15 players, 16 players, something like that. Trent Williams wasn't on there, bro. What are your thoughts on all that? And the team did correct that issue, but man, the Washington can't get rights, right?
Nothing, just nothing. Trent Williams, and we let him go for a bag of chips. It's pathetic just on the word. Yeah, I don't really like. I just don't. The worst part is like what we did to Trent was so bad, misdiagnosing him, not telling you about what he was dealing with, like the whole tumor stuff. It's just so many things wrong with his organization, and to top it off, you don't even acknowledge him at first. You have to correct it, bro. It's sad, but hey, again, we're used to it. Watching sports, yeah.
It's disrespectful, bro. It like, come on, like, and I know a lot of people out there are saying the RG3 omission was probably worse. I mean, RG3 gave us, I think we can all agree, the best season of watching this team, at least in our lifetimes. I think we can all agree that, bro. I still have my old email saved on my Xbox RG3_fan_forever at yahoo.com. I still have that on there. Like I'm not throwing shade at RG3 any which way, bro, because he gave us a like truly, bro. Like we're 10 years away, bro. As we go along this 2022 season, I know we chatted about this. It's gonna be like every single week there's gonna be a throwback, like a 10-year throwback to what RG3 did in 2012. Like that's coming, right? With this organization, or at least with the games that we'll be watching and stuff. So no shade here, but it was one magical season. I don't know if that makes you a top 90 player all time in this franchise. I think it shows, or it won't put this organization in a great light, right? At least on the field wise, to have RG3 after one season being a top 90 player in our 90 years of being a team in the NFL. So you got to think about it that way as well. Dave, interesting critique. Not putting Trent Williams is as wrong as the Sean Taylor mess, but typical for our weird front office.
Dysfunctional.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm still rooting for Jason Wright, and it's not just because, we talk about this off camera. I got a chat with him coming up, but no, like I'm rooting for Jason Wright, and it isn't even just because of the Chicago thing. Like,
wait, what school? What school? You Chicago?
University of Chicago. Yeah. I got to throw that out there. But no, I mean, he's from what I've heard, like in terms of like personally, right? Like he's a good person. He's done some good work with our front office, especially on the diversity and equity front. And I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I think he would even say, there have been some missteps, but they at least they corrected. Like you saw the tweet the next day saying we've listened to fan input and stuff, and they corrected it. In previous administrations for this team, that would not be the case. And even the HTTC hashtag, right? Because they want to take command. I think it's pretty clear that they want to take command as their own hashtag and stuff. But the fans, including myself, go to HTTC. That's what it ended up being. So they're listening to fans at least more than previous administrations. But yeah, man, Sean Taylor, man, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, going back to the previous regimes, I think one thing that's so hard about this new front office is that we just reminisce about the past so much that we sometimes don't realize that they're trying their best to change. Have that better culture. So obviously, it's gonna be like a good hike to get to that. But, we just can't look at the past, even though it's so easy to as fans.
Yeah, but I do feel like it's also important because we're in a very unique situation having people are going to say one name change, but really two name changes, but like one big one, right? Like, I feel like a lot of fans, like, I'm not going to lie, there have been some moments where it's like, oh, man, the nostalgia comes back and you're like, oh, like, I kind of miss these days and stuff. But like, I feel like it's important with our unique situation to have strong ties to our history, to bring all the alums, the legends, right, back in our media spaces, but also just, supporting the team. And I love to see that and all that. And hearing like hail to the Redskins as well, like their little video montage that they tweeted out. Like, I don't know. It hits. I like it. But then again, nothing matters. I mean, it does matter, but like compared to winning, does anything else matter, right? Like with this team. So I completely get that take. But another piece of news, kind of, from this week, the entire offense is practicing together. This is our first time seeing Terry and Jahan Dotson early together in one photo, one video. I know you were hyped up. You were more hyped up than anybody in our 4-person group. But what are your thoughts on that? And also Curtis Samuel not being there. You know, what are your thoughts on that as well?
Man, I finally someone to draw away from Terry, the guys that hopefully now think that Trevon Diggs doesn't own Terry McLaurin, because now there's actually someone who can catch the ball on the other side, you know? But no, it's great to see them trying to develop that chemistry. As soon as Terry got that contract, from Ashburn to Cali, across the country, you know, AG was there, Cole Turner was there, Cam Sims, all the guys. It was great to see. Dax Milne was there, who's also in the news for other stuff, but we won't get to that.
We'll talk about that right after this.
We'll talk about that later. Okay, we'll talk about that later. No, but it was really nice to see just chemistry being developed, and I can't wait to see how Jahan just does day one.
Bro, I mean, again, like we all talk about draft night, like being a little confused about Jahan Dotson's pick, but literally took me a couple hours of just watching highlights, watching film, listening to people, reading up on who Jahan Dotson was, listening to him speak, bro. It took a couple hours, and bro, I was hooked, like in terms of him and what he can bring to the table for our team, bro. I think he's gonna be a special wide receiver. I hope I'm not wrong. But yeah, I think I agree with you. He's gonna take a lot of attention away from Terry. And but yeah, you can't just scoot the whole Curtis Samuel not being there under the rug, though. I mean,
hey, if Curtis is when he's healthy, just go play. If you're not healthy, just just sit down. I don't know, but
yeah.
Hopefully, also one thing I want to talk about. I think this is going to Scott Turner. I want to talk about him. There is no excuses for Scott Turner. You have a quarterback, above average quarterback, a guy has an arm, is physically huge.
Slightly.
Okay.
Slightly above average.
We'll talk about that later. You have weapons you brought Terry back. You have Jahan, who definitely looks like he's going to make an impact. De'Ami Brown's going to get better. You got Cam Sims. Logan's going to come back from injury. This offensive line is above average. You drafted Brian Robinson. Still got AG. J.D. McKissick literally came back to us. Could have went to the Buffalo Bills, AFC contending team. There is no excuses for Scott Turner. I know we gave him an extension, but low-key, he does have a hot seat. He's on a hot seat.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Just put up or shut up time. Even with all Corey mentioned at the very beginning, my large critiques of Carson Wentz and stuff. I mean, he's still better. I don't even want to get into this because we'll talk about this and give our takes, but he is better than any of the quarterbacks we've had since Kirk. And he's not just that, bro. We got to factor this in. He's a guy that this team went out and got via trade, right? Like, we could also say, though, as a counter, this team also went out and got via trade one Kyle Allen, who was not very effective here. But I mean, this is a guy that they gave up a lot more draft capital for, and is a guy that they keep talking about could be our answer. So without giving too much away of my take that we'll dive into a little bit later, I mean, yeah, I think it's put up or shut up time for Scott Turner. I do think, though, if we're talking about coaches on the hot seat, Jack Del Rio more so is on the hot seat for me just because of, well, I mean, what he's said and stuff throughout the offseason. But even more of that, bro, this man's put up a stinker last year with all the talent that we had on our defense. And, yeah, all –
well, I don't know. That might be too soon, Corey.
All right, so what are your thoughts on Gibby, though? Do you think I mean, he was there at the practice. Thoughts on his production this year?
I'm saying, if he figures out the fumbling issue, I think he's a top 10 back in this league. If it's a big if. And now I really think it's gonna be interesting how Scott Turner splits the carries between him, Brian Robinson, and obviously JD out of the backfield. Aside from fantasy, I don't know if that's gonna affect AG's stats, but we'll definitely see. And if AG is struggling, just plug Brian Robinson in. He did not fumble in college. That's one thing I noticed. So that would be great. A running back that doesn't fumble, especially at your own territory.
Oh yeah, there you go, bro. Everybody keeps bringing up what was it? How many fumbles did Gibby have last season? Like 4 or 5, something like that. But bro, it was like all those fumbles were on our side of the field, bro. Like I mean, not all fumbles are exactly. Not all fumbles are made the same, right? There's a difference between fumbling on I mean, although it's all gonna hurt, right? But there's a difference between fumbling, like, I don't know, at the 50-yard line, right? Versus fumbling on your own 20, 25-yard line, which is what AG did several times. And that was super frustrating. That's why he was on the bench. How many games, bro, was he benched? Like, are we gonna forget about that? Like, I know Ron Rivera's not gonna forget about that. I know the front office did not forget about that. That's why they drafted Brian Robinson. But yeah, I'm high on Brian Robinson. I think I said this right away in our live stream right after the draft. I said he's the guy that I'm most high on in the draft. I think revising that take, I think Jahan Dotson is definitely the guy that I'm most high on. But Brian Robinson is up there, man. I love what he brings to the table. He's a thumper when it comes to running the ball, but he also, can pass protect. He was a beast at Bama, right? Like he wasn't the most like perfect running back, and I think there are very few backs that are, especially when you're drafting someone in the third round. But I think he brings a lot more vision to the table than an Antonio Gibson, who we've been waiting. We're trying to wait for the vision to get there, and we saw a lot of that against the Giants, bro. Right? Week 17 or week 18 last season, but I mean it was also against the Giants, right? In week 18 of last season. So, but yeah, we'll see. I think it's gonna be a formidable 1-2 combo. Hopefully one of the best in the league. But yeah, I have Gibby in terms of stats. I have him putting up about 1,050 yards on the ground, 250 receiving, 6 rushing touchdowns, only 6 actually. Losing a couple fumbles, but not as many as last season. But I think where Brian Robinson is going to make his mark is rushing touchdowns. I think he's going to be a goal line back. I think in terms of fantasy, you mentioned fantasy. I think that's going to cut a lot of the touchdown opportunities for Antonio Gibson. But I think it's going to be a good combo.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I want Gibby to succeed so bad because, from the third round Memphis, I loved him since day one. So, and he was an Alvin type, Kamara type back, right, Naughty?
I mean, you know what's weird, bro, about that take, bro? What's really weird is, technically he was the 6th leading rusher last year, right? I mean, technically he is the special back that a lot of us thought he would be, like in terms of just straight up stats wise, right? At the end of the day, I'm also low on him. It's a very weird dynamic, right? Like where like I want to drift away from my take right after the draft saying this man's could be an Alvin Kamara type back for us, even though he kind of was becoming that for us. So it's like I'm kind of right, but I kind of don't know if I'm right. And like I don't know, it's a weird dynamic for sure. Rep the district. I hope you go rewind, rep the district, because especially if it's Stoner. We made some very harsh critiques of this Wizards team, which I know you might not like because you've been talking up the Wizards on social media and stuff. We're not high on the Wizards at all. So hopefully, maybe a little bit later, go back and watch the beginning. But great comment here. Hot take alert. Gibson going to make the front office regret using a high pick on Robinson. Hopefully. I mean, again, technically that would prove my... But it's not all about takes. I get it, but it is what it is. It is what it is. J.D. McKissick, though, we didn't even talk about him. Coming off a big injury last year. Think he could show some things this year?
Yeah, I mean, he was a big part of our offense last year, and he just knows where the last 2 years, my bad. Last 2 years, and he just knows where the first down marker is. He's a football player, just can make anybody miss. And yeah, those 3 guys definitely. I don't know. Do you think they're gonna keep JP? Hopefully, I don't know, the PG guy.
I think so.
You think so? Okay. So JD, again, I'll keep saying it. He could have went to Buffalo and played with Josh Allen, who's we can say unanimously that he's better than Carson Wentz, but he decided to stay here. So that's got to mean something. Something's brewing in Washington or Landover, Maryland, rather.
Yeah, I mean, most physically gifted quarterback. I think we could say that in terms of like what he brings to the table physically. Most physically gifted quarterback potentially of all time, and Josh Allen chose to stay here. Also, he chose to stay here with the Carson Wentz, who doesn't, at least last couple years, you can correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't really throw the ball to running backs out of the backfield that much, right? Like he likes to air it out, which I think I appreciate, right? Opens up our offense, but unlike one Alex Smith, who loved to dink and dunk, but I feel like I don't know. I don't want to get into like bashing on Alex Smith because he did some
No,
good
no, no.
things. I
Of
mean,
course not.
he
Yeah,
helped
yeah,
lead us to that playoff bid, whether we like it or not. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think Carson Wentz is going to spread the offense more, open up the playbook. But I don't know if that's going to help J.D. McKissic, though. I don't know if his stats are going to be there compared to previous years, especially 2020, where can't forget he was only second in the entire NFL in terms of receptions by running back. I think he was, speaking of Alvin Kamara, I think he was second only to Alvin Kamara. And Alvin Kamara that season was amazing, right? Remember, that was the 6-touchdown season against on Christmas Day, I think, against the Vikings. Like, I mean, broke a lot of fantasy players' hearts out there, including myself, which is crazy because I drafted him a year before with my number 1 overall pick. My fantasy mates thought I was crazy, bro. And if it was just a year later, I would have ended up being a genius because I think he was one of the best, if not the best fantasy player in 2020. But it all turned out okay with Jonathan Taylor last year because I know you guys were scratching your heads at that pick, but your boy's a fantasy genius. I'm just saying. No, but yeah, J.D. McKissic, I think he's going to be a good player for us. Not going to put up the stats, but I think he's important, not just on the field, but leadership-wise. And your Jared Patterson question is a very good one. I think they're going to keep him as the 4th running back. If not, put him on the practice squad. But I like it, bro. Like, I mean, he brings some good things. And obviously, hometown guy. Like, he wants to be here, which we've had some guys who do, but, like, not too many, right? So, yeah. I mean, do you think Jared Patterson might be a surprise cut?
I don't know. I think they're gonna keep him, and if not, practice. Oh man, if the running back group is that strong, maybe, but I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see because he showed flashes last year. He just was playing with his heart out every game. It was really great to see. So we'll see.
Yeah. Also, they might keep potentially a 4th tight end if Logan's not. I think when. I don't even think it's if. When Logan's not ready at the start of the season, right? Like, they might keep one. But speaking of tight end, I didn't even include this in my notes, but, bro, I think John Bates is getting a lot of love this offseason, bro. I didn't know this. So he was the best run-blocking tight end. Was it ever by PFF? Something like that? By rookies. I think it's rookie tight ends. I might be wrong on that.
No,
I saw a problem with this.
Yeah, I saw PFF on Pro Football. They were hyping him up. It was something with blocking, so that's great to see.
Yeah.
Obviously, pass wise, he has to get better at catching the ball. But yeah, John Bates, I love him, man.
Yeah, Andrew, our boy in the chat. I feel so bad because we've been talking up a future collab, but we got to get that going, Andrew, for sure. But yeah, John. I mean, Corey, bro. Corey was on John Bates from the very beginning. Like, we gotta give Corey his flowers because he was talking up John Bates as a future George Kittle, and I wasn't thinking like Corey was absolutely nuts for saying that, but I definitely questioned it, of course, because George Kittle is George Kittle. But yeah, I mean, Corey said it from the beginning. John Bates was a great blocker for last year, very soft hands, right? I feel like he's gonna be a very reliable target for Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz loves targeting his tight ends, right? Going back to Philadelphia, even a little bit last year in Indy. So yeah, it should be interesting. What kind of season should we expect from Curtis Samuel?
Just straight to Curtis Samuel. Man, I really think this is the bounce back year. We saw what he did in Carolina when he was healthy. I just think a guy like him, we can use him anywhere, out the backfield, just throw him 1-on-1, just speedster. I think this will go back to Jahan and Terry drawing attention. If let's say they're like getting so much attention on it, you got Curtis Samuel. So I really think this is his time. Again, one thing I want to point out is that we didn't give him that much money before Kenny Golladay or after. We could pay him before Kenny Golladay, so that was a good thing. So we're not paying him crazy amount of money, but again, he still should be producing because we expected him to be number 2 last year.
Yeah, man, big yikes by the Giants. What was it? 4 years, $76 million contract they gave to Kenny Golladay.
0 touchdowns.
And yeah, big yikes. And he was a guy that I'm gonna admit, like, I was high on, like a lot of us out here were high on. So good on the organization. But yeah, Curtis Samuel. I will say this: we mentioned running backs. He might, take a couple yards here every now and then, maybe a rushing touchdown or 2 away from one Antonio Gibson or one Brian Robinson or even a J.D. McKissic, just because he could be used as a gadget type player. And I think he will be. He was used a little bit last year as a gadget type player, where end around runs and short yardage situations. But I think he could be used more of that next year. if he stays healthy. It's a big if, though. It's a big if. I hope knock on wood, he doesn't become an Anthony Davis type of if he stays healthy scenario
Or Paul Richardson,
situation.
if we compared him to
or Paul
receivers.
Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, yeah, and I mean, Corey talked about, I don't know if it was Corey, it might have been someone else who talked about how, Curtis Samuel wearing number 10. I mean, 10 is cursed here in DC. I hope Curtis Samuel could break out of it. I agree with David DC. He's our X factor this year. He can very much fly, even with our speedy offensive group as is. And, upset defenses. I agree with you, Dave. I really do. But, lastly, in terms of the offensive skill group, we talked a little bit about Jahan Dotson, but I mean, can you give me like a stat line potentially for him?
Man, receiving yards. Well, it just depends on so much. Like if Curtis stays healthy, I think Curtis is gonna have more touchdowns than Jahan if he stays healthy. But I think Jahan's gonna have more receiving yards. I don't know if I can give you an exact stat line though. I gotta give that to you, man. You're the stats guy.
Yeah, I mean, I have Jahan Dotson getting more receiving yards than Curtis Samuel. I have him barely doing it, but it wouldn't surprise me if he just blows Curtis Samuel out the water in terms of production this year. I have him going for 60 to 65 catches, something like that, 800 yards, and 6 receiving touchdowns. I think he's going to have more receiving touchdowns than Curtis Samuel as well. I mean, he might push Terry, because I think Jahan Dotson is going to be used a lot in the slot, and the slot is usually where a lot of players make their mark, right? Like a lot of players get the yardage, get the touchdowns. I mean, obviously Dotson right now isn't a Cooper Kupp, and maybe likely will not ever be a Cooper Kupp like 1,800 yard season type of player. But I mean, we see guys eat in the slot, and I think Jahan Dotson will do that even in his rookie year. Andrew, we talked about Johnny Davis a little bit earlier. Sorry to go off topic. No problem. But I feel Johnny Davis is playing real passive, not aggressive enough. He needs to go get himself a bucket. I know he can do it. Good luck.
I mean, I talked about it at the beginning. He's looking like he's playing scared out there, but hopefully it's just a summer league thing. And when it comes to the real games, that that nervousness will go away, and he'll be able to just ball out.
This is a good point, Roger. No Gadge plays for Curtis because of his injury history and stuff. I mean, I kind of get that, and I do think they're going to use their running backs more so for running plays, whether it be Gibson, B-Rob, or even a J.D. McKissick. But I think one of the reasons why they brought Curtis over here, other than his speed, right, and his deep threat ability, he could be used as a gadget guy, and I think they might use him occasionally, every now and then, as one, maybe a little bit less so than he was in Carolina, but I could definitely see that. And he's still young. So, has a lot more left in him. So we'll see. We'll see this year.
Speaking of Curtis, since DeAndre Carter is gone, do you think special teams wise, the returner, is it going to be Jahan or is it going to be Curtis?
See, neither. I think it might be. Was it Erickson that we brought in this offseason? I might be wrong on that. Yeah. I know we brought in a returner this offseason, and we probably will bring a returner or two as we move closer to training camp, if not the preseason, right? When we're trying out a bunch of guys at the position, but
probably a former Panther, because Erickson's a former Panther. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Washington Commanders, bro. If the offense clicks, Commanders are going to be fun to watch, as they could be very unpredictable. We are so underrated going into the season. Carson Wentz.
Let's talk about him. I'll talk about
this matters. If Carson Wentz, what's the bet? Yeah, go ahead. You talk up about him before I talk down.
Okay, all right. First of all, Carson Wentz, the 6'5" monster. This offense right now is the best supporting cast he has had his whole NFL career. And I don't think that's a harsh thing to say. Let's talk about it. In Indy, Michael Pittman Jr., barely a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 at best. T.Y. Hilton, aging and old. Mo Alley Cox, he was balling at VCU not too long ago. He's not an NFL tight end, below average NFL tight end. Jack Doyle, average tight end. The Colts offensive line, run blocking, great. Pass-wise, terrible. Jonathan Taylor, best running back in football. Yeah, but sorry, I got too much. I got too excited there.
No
Let's
problem.
talk about the Eagles. Oh my God, the Eagles just didn't help him at all.
Guys, you got excited over Carson Wentz. Go ahead.
Okay.
Continue.
Anyway, so what was it? The Eagles, they had a guy named Travis Fulgham that was supposed to save him. Guys like Jalen Reagor that was supposed to help Carson Wentz. Come on, man. And now, all right, let's talk about what happened last year against Jacksonville. Carson Wentz doesn't have a great performance. Was that all his fault? No.
It doesn't have a great performance.
Okay, but one thing that people don't want to talk about was that the Colts haven't beat Jacksonville since 2014. Was Carson Wentz on the team years before last year? No. I'm telling you guys right now, Carson Wentz is going to have a bounce-back season if he stays healthy. It's a huge if. Because his offensive line is above average, so if they keep him upright, it will be great. And what's up, man? I really think that he'll have a bounce-back season, and the hate is unreal. I mean, you agree with me on this. He is not a bottom 3 quarterback in this league. He's in that 20 range, 21, 22, 19. And I think if he proves the haters wrong, he could be in the top 10 conversation again.
Bro, you talked about 19 to 21, and you talked up a guy that if I didn't know any better, I would have thought he was a top 5 guy. Bro, I'm not excited about Carson Wentz. I'm not. I know a lot of fans talk themselves into Carson Wentz. I am consistent. From the beginning, I wasn't high on Carson Wentz and what he could bring to the table here in DC. Now, I'm not high on Carson Wentz and what he can bring here to DC. I will say this. He will open up our offense. But the one thing that I hate the most when people talk about what Carson Wentz, how special he can be for us, is when they say he's the best option we've had since Kirk Cousins. That's why I kind of cringed myself when I said that earlier. That is not saying much at all. We had a one-legged Alex Smith. We had a noodle-armed Taylor Heineke. We had I'm not gonna say anything bad about it. We all respect, rest in peace to Dwayne Haskins, right? Yeah. We had Dwayne Haskins as well. He was a young quarterback. It just didn't work out here. But we also had, Kyle Allen. We talked about him earlier. Kyle Allen. I mean, we had a Colt McCoy.
Gilbert, Mark Sanchez. Yeah, Colt McCoy.
I'm not sorry, not Colt. Not Colt McCoy. I'm thinking of Case Keenum, bro, because they all look the same to me, bro. They all look the same, act the same, play out the same on the field. Like, bro, no. When we start having expectations like that for our team, for our hometown team, our number one team, that just only makes things worse, bro. When we lower our expectations like that, because we're not expecting more from this team, bro. Carson Wentz is the best option since Kirk Cousins. That's what we're hyped about. No.
But that's the cards we're being dealt with, man. You gotta.
I don't care. That doesn't mean you have to be hyped out about it. You can accept it. I have accepted it long ago. Like, I've accepted it. Again, I think he's gonna open up our offense a lot more. I think he's gonna, allow for Terry to have his best season to date. But I mean, so many things, bro. So many things wrong with your take here about Carson Wentz. One, everybody talks about, Carson Wentz this season. Man, he's going to be very special for us. I mean, first off, even before getting into his production, bro, can we trust him to stay healthy? Everybody's going to say last year, 17 games.
He was healthy last year.
Stayed healthy. Hold on. 17 games, stayed healthy. Bro, this man was on 2 sprained ankles. Also, before last season, one of his biggest faults was that he could never stay healthy. I'm sorry. I think last year was more of an aberration, and I very likely think that Taylor Heineke is going to get a lot of reps this season. I'm sorry. I hate to say it, but he needs to be ready. And I hate to say that too because I'm not a Taylor Heineke fan. No, I'm not praying for his downfall. I'm being realistic. Bro, look at our Twitter page, our description, talking realistically about DMV Sports. But anyways, another point. Oh, man, the Jaguars, Colts never beat the Jaguars. They brought Carson Wentz in to be the difference, to be the answer. They lost 2 more games last year than they did the year before with a 39-year-old about to retire, Phillip Rivers. Nobody talks about that. But about the same team. If not worse, because they actually, Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman Jr. were rookies in 2020. Right? They didn't even have that year of development yet. We're talking up one Carson Wentz, bro. I will say this. We got a chance to see him during OTAs.
Yeah.
Very grateful for that opportunity. Bro, people can kick rocks about the whole character concerns thing. That I've definitely changed my mind since early in the offseason, right? Like
Sure.
maybe he has some, like with teammates, maybe. I really feel like it's his Christianity. I really feel like that's what rubs like his team because he's so strong in his faith. But I completely respect being strong in your faith and and I completely respect that. And as a devout Christian myself, I understand how people could look at that wrong. Maybe it's more than that, but if it's just that, I completely understand that. But in terms of what he brings on the field, guys, I'm sorry. Even Kirk, bro, and what blows my mind? Best option since Kirk Cousins. What did Kirk Cousins do for us?
Okay, first
9-win season.
Oh, bro,
1-9-win season.
Okay, bro, but you have to
You put
understand
up the stats, bro. I don't care.
We're not gonna have a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes if we get above average quarterback play and that defense.
No, I understand we're not gonna get obviously we're not gonna get Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. I'm just saying, bro.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying is you think we're gonna obviously we're the Washington team. We don't get good quarterbacks. We have to trade for guys. We don't develop guys.
Stop lowering your expectations. I'm not accepting a Carson Wentz, bro. A guy that literally, I promise you, if he was not on our team, we would be roasting. We literally were roasting him last year, bro.
Lie, yeah.
He was playing for the Colts. Come on, bro. Guys, take off your burgundy and gold glasses and look through things as they are. Right? I understand it's hard to do that when we're fans. We're strong fans of this team. We rock with them, whatever. Bro, they can win 2 wins. They can have 2 wins next year. We'll still be fans of them. We are committed fans. At this point, all the fans that are left for this organization are people that are going to be here for the long haul, no matter what, right? Even with all the off-the-field stuff, we're always going to be here. And that's saying a lot, especially when, again, I said this at the beginning, we're young fans. We have no reason to stay here. No reason to, especially when most of my friends are Ravens fans, right? Growing up. So, yeah, and I respect this point, Billy, and I appreciate you, Billy, for commenting here and for joining us. Still 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 3,500 yards. Bro, Kirk Cousins put up stats too, but bro, Kirk Cousins put up the same number of wins over the last 3 or 4 seasons since he left that we've put up with him no longer being here, bro, with all of our deficiencies and stuff. Guys, we gotta stop looking at the stats, especially with QBs, and thinking that's the end-all be-all. We also have to stop looking at wins and thinking that's the end-all be-all, right? Because we have the Alex Smith scenario where he was not great for us, right? But he did technically go on a 5 wins out of 6 game streak, something like that, right? In 2020, he was 5-1. But you have to find the in-between. Carson Wentz is not the in-between. I'm sorry. You know who's in the in-between? I'm not saying we're going to get him, right? And it's hard to get a guy like this. But a Derek Carr, I feel like, is an in-between where he puts up the stats, but he'll get your team to the playoffs, right? He's not part of the top 7, 8 quarterback conversation. But I've had to talk to my Raiders friends about this, but he's good enough to get you to will you into the playoffs, right? When we were faltering last year, I know we beat his team, but after we beat his team, the Raiders went on a run, and Derek Carr was a huge reason why, right? That got them to the playoffs. When a lot of Raiders fans were like, should we keep Derek Carr? We don't know. Is he really the answer here? So again, everybody likes to point to the 27 touchdowns, 7 picks, bro. That does not tell you the full story of Carson Wentz. He had a terrible beginning of the season. He had a great middle part of the season and a terrible end of the season. I think what the Commanders are hoping is that we replicate the middle of the season here in DC over the course of a full season. But I think that's hard to do when over the course of his history, he hasn't been able to stay healthy for the course of an entire season. I know everybody's going to say, last year he did. Okay, let's see if that was the real Carson Wentz or that was an aberration, because he's played 5-6 seasons in the NFL. That has never been the case beyond last season. So, and it might not just be injuries that that leaves him out of the game, right? It could be a Baker Mayfield situation where he's still playing, but he's playing hurt, and that diminishes what he can actually bring to the table, especially when he has a big arm, right? So if it's ever his arm or his leg, that just limits our playbook. And I don't know, man. I know I'm rambling, but and I get there's a lot of optimism among the fan base. I'm sticking with 9-8. I said to Rio, I think it was last week, if not the week before, that I might go up to 10-7 if we add maybe a linebacker in the offseason. We'll get into that group right after this. But if we do some things right before the start of the season, but I'm sticking with 9-8. I'm not high on Carson Wentz. I want to be wrong. It's not even wrong because I think he brings a lot to the table. So I don't know if I'm going to be wrong if he provides good quarterback play for us. But I want him to be spectacular. I want him to be the quarterback of the future, and for us to no longer be searching for one. And I agree. Farid Carson has nothing to lose. Farid, I'm probably mispronouncing that. Has nothing to lose and everything to gain coming to an organization like this. The only way to go. People said the same thing about the Colts last year. Same thing about the Colts. He was supposed to be the answer for the Colts. Bro, I said this before, and I'll say this again. But a lot of people forget. Last year, everybody was talking about how the Colts had a, if not Super Bowl, then a legit playoff roster last year. I mean, how could you not say that after they were 11-5 the year before with the 39-year-old about to retire, Phillip Rivers, right? And Carson Wentz was supposed to be the answer. And not only was he not the answer, he was a -2 win difference maker on that team.
Bro, you gotta look at the division they're playing into, the AFC South. Like, come on, man. The Texans and the Jaguars.
You're proving my point. Why did he not make the playoffs?
Okay, yeah, boy. I understand.
You're proving my point, my guy.
No, they obviously were up there because they played against terrible. Like, they played twice a year against those teams.
Bro,
they couldn't beat the high caliber teams because aside from Jonathan Taylor, that offense is below average at best.
Whoa, did the Colts go to the NFC East last year? Were they in our division? If I'm not mistaken, I think they were in the AFC South the last, I don't know how many years, but at least the last 2 years. Carson Wentz had pretty much the same. Everybody's going to talk about all the injuries on the offensive line. Bro, they still had the third best rush blocking offensive line in the league. The Colts purposely going into the season did not want to ask Carson Wentz to do too much. And they didn't ask him to do too much. Jonathan Taylor, the NFL's leading rusher, was in the backfield, and he still could not get his team to the playoffs last year.
Also,
and everybody's gonna talk about. I know you're gonna bring up. Oh, Jonathan Taylor did not have a good end of the season last year. I think that has a lot to do with the Colts not making it. What about the beginning of the season and some parts even before the last two games when Jonathan Taylor carried the Colts to wins and Carson Wentz was wetting the bed? I think it was about time towards the end of the season where Carson Wentz showed his true mettle and actually showed up. But he did not because he is Carson Wentz. And he's not the same 2017 quarterback that a lot of fans think he is. And he's not the great quarterback that people might think just based off of his stats. Like, the stats do not show the full story of Carson Wentz last year. There's a huge reason why he's off the team, off the Colts after one season, even with Frank Reich and everything that was going for him in Indy. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, it was the off the field stuff. It wasn't the on the field stuff. Bro, how many times, think about it this way, how many times in the NFL have we heard of superstar players have a lot of off the field issues with their teams, especially a quarterback, and their teams decide to keep them because they're a great player? It's a cost benefit analysis. And the cost of Carson Wentz staying on the team, the cost was not just the off the field stuff. It's also whether he could actually show up on the field and play very well for the full season. He did not do that. And the cost was too much. The cost was too much for the Colts. And they got rid of him after a year, even with everybody thinking, oh, that was going to be his get-right team. And statistically, that was his get-right team. But statistics don't show you the full story, bro. They don't show you the full story. Antonio Brown, I mean, not even – Antonio Brown was a whole – and I see the profile picture. Antonio Brown was, super problematic. I'm just talking about guys who, have had issues in the past, but teams have kept them because of what they bring to the table. And for Carson Wentz, he was not good enough on the field for the Colts to keep him, even with all, the off the field, whatever it was, character concerns. Again, I think that's a little overblown, but I said my piece, bro. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I would say one thing: Matt Ryan is not gonna lead that Colts team. I'll say one thing for sure: that he's put the yep. I mean, that's what we're looking for. He did put
Whoa. So we're going back to 2018, 2019 now? What about 2020?
I mean, didn't he have Pete Carson? Pete Carson?
The same Pete Carson that we thought Frank Reich would bring him back to. And by we,
You're
I
acting
mean
like
most
Frank
NFL
Wright was the
fans.
one that made Carson Wentz, bro. Frank Wright,
I
obviously, like they
mean,
had a connection, but like
I mean,
all I'm saying, if Carson stays healthy and we surrounded him with all like the talent, way better
we
talent than they
did.
have in Indy.
Yep. But they had a better like actual defense last year. I'm not talking about talent.
Okay,
I'm talking
I
about
want to talk
like
about the defense. That defense,
okay.
obviously top 10 in
Yeah.
scoring. But there were a lot of
Yeah.
fourth quarter collapses from that defense, if you look back on
But
it.
still much better than our defense, is my point. I'm not saying they were like legendary. They were legendary like Phillip Rivers year. I'll say that. And that goes against my point earlier about the whole 11-5 season, but not too much. But anyways, like they were still very solid last year. People talk about, again, another point people mention along the lines of Jonathan Taylor not being effective the last couple of weeks of the season. The defense wasn't effective the last couple of weeks of the season. Again, how many times last season did we see the running game and the defense carry is too strong of a word, like really will their team, the Colts, to wins last season, right? I think it was about, with Carson Wentz being a negative in those games, I think it was about time that Carson Wentz showed up at the end of the season and actually proved his mettle once again. He did not. And we can't excuse that just because he's on our team and we have burgundy and gold glasses. Like, we got to be realistic about this team's chances. And, I get it. This is optimism time. I really do. But I hate to see, this optimism go away. This is our third. This is my third off season on this YouTube channel. And every single off season, fans get very excited about what the team can bring. Especially last off season when we were 7-9, but it was a playoff appearance. Our team showed very good, had a very good performance, especially on defense. Right. And there was just a lot of things going for us. And even then, I was tempering my expectations. I thought we would win 8 games last year. Only 8. We ended up winning 7. The year before that, I thought we would win 7. We ended up winning 7. This year, I think we're going to win 9. We might be around 9. We got to be realistic. I get it. We want to be optimistic as fans. We do. We want this team to do well, to do better than they've done the last 25 years, as we said at the beginning. But we also have to keep our realistic selves and not just look at this team in terms of, we can look at this team in terms of burgundy and gold glasses when we're obviously when we're talking about the Cowboys and the Eagles, right? We run the East, you know what I mean? Like when we're talking up this team just because we're fans of it. I get that. But we're talking about win-loss expectations for this team. I think we got to take off the glasses and actually hone in on what this team is and look at this team relative to how the rest of the NFC East is, which we'll talk about right after this, and the NFL as a whole. So again, Roberts, I mentioned this earlier, he did in the middle of the season. I don't know about carried. He was very good. He did win a game ball. I remember that. Before he got COVID, unvaccinated. I think that has something to do with him leaving. Last time I checked, COVID's not going away, and there might be, more of a similar situation come colder months, but I guess nobody's talking about that, right? We'll see when we get there. It's sort of the mentality. But yeah, I don't know, man.
I can't wait to Carson.
I'm not saying. Yeah. I mean, I hope he does. We're diehard fans of this team. I hope he does, bro. But I'm also very realistic when it comes to win losses for this team. See, that's the problem. Okay,
that
people
right there.
That's quarterback that can carry this team, and we don't have that. Run the football and let them manage. But no one wants to hear that. They want 40 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. No, I could care less about stats. I want wins. I want wins.
Sure.
I'm not saying. Listen. I'm not saying I want an Alex Smith where he gets he just. It's like an in between, right? Again, like a Derek Carr type of guy. I know he's a Pro Bowl quarterback. Pro Bowl quarterbacks don't grow on trees, but at the end of the day, I'm not saying we could definitely do better than Carson Wentz this offseason. I think we actually agree that Carson Wentz was probably our best option this offseason, just because Russell Wilson, man, Virginia native, didn't want to come here, bro. I don't know about you. Actually, look at Russell Wilson a different way now. I used to actually be a huge fan of him, but I'm not kidding. I'm serious. Again, that's where the burgundy and gold glasses come in. But him not wanting to come here, even though the Broncos were also 7-10 last season. And I think the Broncos won 4 Super Bowls in the history of their team. I mean, we won 3, okay. But
Russ is being
They don't
controlled
wanna
by
be here.
Sierra. We can be honest. She didn't want to come
I
to
mean,
Landover, Maryland.
she wanted to go to Denver, bro. Denver over DC. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Like I don't know. I really don't know. And he even mentioned like how a lot of his family, wanted him to go back to the East Coast. I don't know. It is what it is. But I get it. Best option. That doesn't mean you have to be ecstatic about that option. That's my mentality about Carson Wentz. They didn't need to have options at wide receiver. They didn't need to have options. We don't have a Jonathan Taylor on our offense. Even with how much we love Terry, there's no offensive weapon on our team that's better than Jonathan Taylor. None.
Dude,
None.
Compared to everything that we have. Come on, man.
Nah, bro. And also our defense was worse last season than the Colts defense. Even with all their miscues and stuff. We were. Why you tilting your head this way?
That was because like injuries and
much
COVID,
worse. No, injuries and COVID. They had injuries and COVID too.
I know, but like,
bro, we need to stop using that excuse as well, bro.
No,
every team has injuries and COVID.
The defense is bad. I agree. Underperformed a lot, but as if we got the development with Ben St. Juice, William Jackson, hopefully playing up to that contract, Kendall Fuller comes back to that. What was it? 2020, 2021, or whatever that stretch he had.
5 games. Yep.
Chase Young comes back. I don't think Chase is going to be back on time, so that's a big thing. But the defensive line plays great. I don't know if they're going to trade Deron Payne. Jonathan Allen is Jonathan Allen. Cam Crow, all I'm saying, the defense, top 10 form, in my opinion, potentially.
I gotta see it. I gotta see it. Like, I can't make any like top 10, top 5 because we did that last offseason, bro. And I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it until we actually see this defense play up to their potential on the field. David DC, not too tough on Commander Wentz. He's going to show up. I hope so. Dave. I hope so. I think none of us hope he doesn't show up. Like, I think we all hope he shows up.
And if all else fails, we throw Sam Howell in the mix. Just throw Sam Howell.
Sam Howell that hasn't done well in practices. Like I haven't heard great things.
I think he's an in-game type of guy. You know what I'm saying?
And you know who also is an in-game type of guy, man? Taylor freaking Heineke. But on our defense. So linebackers, Jamin, Cole. I mean, you talked about this, bro. I remember making that we should not sleep on the draft class video, bro. You know what the first thing Abdullah talked to me about? What about the linebackers? So I want to get your thoughts. I mean, think we're gonna add to the linebacker position? I mean,
we're not. I thought we were bringing back Landon, but we're not. I mean, unless Jamin Davis has a big sophomore leap, we're really, really thin at linebacker. Obviously, Cole Holcomb is good, but his ceiling, I think, is limited. It just all depends on Jamin, honestly.
Another counter, Robert, 2-year counter. So a rebuttal, I should say. Buffalo also lost to Jacksonville. Yeah, also, Buffalo did not lose to Jacksonville with playoff implications on the line. I think that's a huge thing. A lot of I bet you a lot of players to get their foot off the pedal, did not try as hard as possible. They literally it was win or get in for the Colts. You know what this reminds me of? Kirk Cousins against the Giants, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie intercepting. That's what that reminds me of.
Bro.
When literally they were playing like, I'm not saying they were the Jaguars were actually no, I am saying that. Even with all the backups that the Giants put in that year, remember when they already clinched the playoff spot? OBJ, I believe he played for little, if not none at all. I don't know. A lot of backups were in. I remember that game. A lot of backups were in. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, interception. Literally all Kirk Cousins had to do was get us to a W over backups. And he couldn't. That's what last year Carson Wentz against Jacksonville reminds me of. So I'm not making any excuses for Carson Wentz and his performance with playoff implications on the line against Jacksonville. I think, again, and also, he was supposed to be the difference for Indy. He was supposed to be the reason that they got over the hump last season. And when I say over the hump, we're not talking about a Commanders over the hump where we're going from 7 to 10 wins. We're talking about an Indy over the hump where they just had 11 wins in 2020, and he was supposed to be better than that. If not win-loss record-wise, then like playoff run-wise, and they couldn't even get into the playoffs. So, bro, like, I'm sorry. Like, people are gonna say pessimistic Nazi, but I'm just bringing up real facts here. And again, I hope Carson Wentz balls out. I hope he's an MVP this year. I hope we go to the Super Bowl. but I'm also being realistic here. But yeah, I agree with you, bro. I agree. Linebacker situation, not hot, not hot. And all of us fans were saying Jamin Davis better served outside linebacker position. And I mean, it took what until the very end of the season for that to happen. That's kind of inexplicable when everybody, including myself, were like, we have a linebacker, a former linebacker head coach, former linebacker, a defensive coordinator. We would think things would be okay for us, but they just weren't. I do think I said this before. I'll say it again. Jamin Davis showed some spurts, some very good moments last season amidst a lot of bad moments, but I think he'll be better in his second season, and I hope he grows into the type of player he can become based off of his instincts, his will to learn, but also just his physical attributes and stuff. I hope he becomes that type of player for us.
Yeah, I agree. We just gotta see. I really hope he takes that sophomore leap.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Robert. I get it, bro. I get these comments, but I'm not excusing. I'm not excusing Carson Wentz. I don't care if the whole team, bro. He's supposed to be the difference. He was supposed to be the difference for Indy, and they got rid of him with a guy that literally was pounding the table to get him, and Frank Wright. They got rid of him after a year, and people love to say it's all off the field stuff. No, it wasn't it wasn't a serious off the field stuff like a Deshaun Watson situation. It wasn't like something like that. Like, we got to factor in this team really put a cost benefit analysis out there. Like, is he worth it on the field for us to keep him, even with maybe him rubbing teammates the wrong way or whatever, right? The COVID stuff. He wasn't. And we got to admit that. And we got to think about that when we're thinking about Carson Wentz and what he could bring here to DC. Not making excuses, but we've seen how that's fair. That's a fair point. And obviously, whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, you can get COVID. I think we've all seen that. But like, at the end of the day, I mean, also chose not to get the vaccine. And again, once we get to the colder months, I'm just saying. I hope nothing happens. Like, I pray nothing happens. Just my realistic side is coming up here, bro. It just is. Maybe pessimistic, I guess. But all right, so go ahead. Say what you have to say.
I can't believe I'm being more optimistic than you on this team right now. That's the first, in my opinion. Come on, man. Commander Carson in the building, bro. Just wait till week 1. Jacksonville, revenge game. Oh, my God. 3 TDs, 300 yards.
Revenge game. Man. Nah, it's not gonna be a revenge game. Well, okay, I'm not gonna talk about it. I don't want to bring bad things into the air about this team and for those things to happen. So I'm not gonna say it. I expect a W from this team week 1. I expect a W. I predicted a W. We'll see. Hopefully that works, and hopefully again Carson Wentz balls out. One more thing on the Colts situation, I would take Snyder over that. But the same owner that has I think 5th top 5 winning percentage of all time. I actually looked that up.
Okay, I obviously take anybody.
And people say, they had Peyton Manning, they had Andrew. I mean, wasn't he responsible for putting the right people in place? Whether it be the GM, Chris Ballard, who's a great GM, wasn't he good front office last 10, 15 years, 20 years? I mean,
I will say what he did. Sorry, I was gonna say about what he did with Carson. He was like, again, it wasn't right for him. That was a little much. Crazy insult him after he got traded. Like, move on. You made a mistake. But obviously, no one is worse than Dan Schneider. That he's on a whole different level.
Yeah. LF, what's up? Peyton Manning. I mean, of course, T-Roy. I mean, I said this to Abdullah. I think I said this on the channel. Peyton Manning is my favorite football player ever. Like, period, point blank. Like, I'm talking about cross teams. So I completely get that Peyton Manning had a lot to do with all those wins, especially in the regular season. But I mean, again, can't fault Irsay for putting the right people in the right place. And he has the 5th highest winning percentage of all time. I think you can't just scoff at that.
Can't argue
that. Yeah. Robert, I've been a fan of Washington for 40 years. Put my hopes in no one. I'll be happy if we make it to training camp. Yeah, man, I'm optimistic. I shouldn't say that. I hope that this team makes, wins like 12, 13, 14 games, makes the Super Bowl. but I want to be realistic until I would rather this team prove me wrong.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I'd rather this team prove me wrong than for me
Yeah.
to have my hopes high for I don't know how many years this is in a row, and for them to let me down, and for us to literally come on this live stream in October, November, and talk down on this team like we did the last year, and I did the last 2 years. We can't have that happen. We can't have that happen. So, okay. Yes, I know that. I know. In terms of character, I get that. I'm just saying in terms of like wins, losses, and putting the right people in the right place, like record speaks for itself. All right. So what I want to get to, the whole Zach Wilson situation. You know, I was high on Dak. Can't even talk about the situation.
I want to bring it up
with a straight face. Zach Wilson. I mean, I think you know very well that, like Chris Sims, noted quarterback analyst out there, one of the best in the business. Love hearing him talk about football. But like him, I was super high on Zach Wilson from the beginning, like from August. When was that? That was 2021. From August of like 2020, right? August, September of 2020. I was super high on him, and I thought he could potentially be the best quarterback in the entire draft class. I think he started off slow last year, but so did Trevor Lawrence. So did most of the quarterbacks not named Mac Jones. But I think Zach Wilson, I think he brings a lot to the table on the field. And but it sucks because every time like I talk about how much of a on the field fan I am of Zach Wilson, people can bring up the off the field stuff. So for those of you who might not be in the loop, on Twitter or maybe
you can
Instagram,
explain it. I think you'll do a good job.
Yeah. So Dax Milne put up an IG post. I think it was this week, not late last week. And basically on the IG post, it was him and his girl. And what we found out was that his girl was Zach Wilson's former girlfriend. And because of what happened there, they're no longer friends, no longer tight. And remember, Dax Milne was Zach Wilson's number one option on offense, right, at BYU. And I think it was even beyond that. Like they were really close friends off the field and stuff. And so that whole situation, right? But I think what a lot of people are talking about right now goes beyond that. So the Zach Wilson ex-girlfriend, Dax Milne, the current girlfriend, went on IG in a comment section and basically in terms of she kind of wanted to clap back at people who said, how could you do this, Dak? Like who were basically commenting under his IG saying like, Dax, like, oh, you're a sellout. Like, how could you do this to your bro and all that? As a clap back, she basically said, oh, it was Zach that basically like got with that's I think slept with his
mom's best friend.
Yeah. So that's where we're at right now. And a lot of people are like, oh, like W Riz, like, oh my gosh, Zach Wilson is that's creepy. If that's true. Also, I think a lot of people are forgetting this. That could be completely false.
Yeah.
I don't really I don't think either one of us know too much about this, but I feel like partners, they could be after a breakup or whatever, like they could be, very, furious at the other partner and say stuff that is just untrue just to get, to bash another person. But yeah, I mean it could be completely false, but if it's true, I don't know. That's kind of weird, bro. I'm not all with the whole, oh, he's a G, like he has a dog in him, like a lot of people are saying on Twitter. I don't know about that. That's weird. That's weird. I'm sorry.
No, but I really think honestly, I'm not surprised because I remember coming into the draft, people said like Zach. I saw a report that said that he brought 2 girls to high school prom. That's kind of insane. But hey, it's all off the field. I don't even know if Dax Milne's gonna make the team. So obviously he has to be a commander to be on the news for that, though. So.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's pretty much what that's what's keeping him in the news. I think he was at that practice though, right? Was he the guy on the left? I don't know. His face is not very recognizable.
Yeah. I think he was there. Yeah, I remember you recognized
our thumbnail, by the way.
Yeah.
For sure. I know Cole Turner was on the right, but I'm trying to think of who was on the left. But Yeah. So I guess the last question I want to ask you, Abdullah, I know we've run over, but last question I want to ask you, where does this team rank in the NFC East?
Man. Oh, I really want to say second, but I still think, man, I still think the Cowboys are better than us, and I still think the Eagles are better than us. But it all depends on Jalen Hurts for the Eagles, and he has success around him. He's set up to be successful, but will he? I don't know. I'm not that high on him. I don't think we're dead last. The Giants are definitely fourth. We can unanimously agree with that as all NFC East fans and even NFL fans. I think we're third best, and I still think we can play. We can still make the wild card spot. So
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know what the right word is here, but I think it's kind of weird for Commanders fans to say, "Oh man, Jalen Hurts is a prove it year for him. If he doesn't make it, man, the Eagles are in hot water. Oh my gosh!" When we're literally in the same situation with Carson Wentz. I like in terms of him, this is his prove it year because honestly, if he doesn't make it here, I don't know if he's gonna ever be a consistent. Consistent is the key word here. Consistent starting quarterback in this league.
QB1. Yeah, I
Unless
agree. I
an
agree with
injury
that.
comes
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, but in terms of, so you said you're not high on Jalen Hurts. I've been saying this before. I'll say it again. I think he's going to improve off of last season, just like he improved off of 2020 last season. He's put in the work this offseason. And people like to say, "Oh, he's a running back. He's a running back." People said the same thing about Josh Allen to start. And I know Jalen Hurts does not have nearly the arm as one Josh Allen. I don't think he's ever going to be a Josh Allen. All I'm saying is a lot of the same things that people are saying about Josh Allen in terms of like, oh, he's not super accurate. He just runs all the time. Like, and he slowly but surely develops into a very good quarterback. We could potentially see that with Jalen Hurts. And I think that's going to be terrible for us. And yeah, I think that's a huge reason why, for the lack of stats that he put up last season, I know everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, Carson Wentz put up 27-7. Jalen Hurts, I mean, he barely put up more touchdowns and interceptions last year." He also put up a lot of yards on the ground, but it's not even stats for me. It's everything between the ears. And Jalen Hurts just has that it factor about him. He just does. He just does. He just does. I'm sorry. He does. I hate to say it. He's an Eagle. He's a Smeagol. But like, he does. He does. And I mean, I'm not even factoring that into why I have the Eagles at number one. I mean, they have a better roster. They have a better roster than us. They added a lot on offense. AJ Brown, of course, although he does have injury concerns. I think underrated injury concerns. The defense, though, I mean, come on. Nakobe Dean, they got Davis,
Davis,
I think out of Georgia.
and Bradbury. So
like
they added secondary.
Bradbury, I forgot about him as well. I mean, they added some guys. A lot of these same people we wanted. Like, again, a lot of people, once these players are not on our team, officially not on our team, they automatically like think, oh, they're I don't know, they're poop. Like they're terrible. Right? Like when at the end of the day, a lot of us were rooting for these same players to be on our team.
But when they come here,
because of the fact that they're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're exceptional. Just like when Carson Wentz. I mean, he wasn't poop, but like, you know what I mean. Anyways, yeah, but I think this is where we differ. And it's crazy because you say, "Oh, you're higher on the Commanders than I am." I think the Eagles are clearly better than us, and people can laugh about that because of Jalen Hurts. They're clearly better than us, but I think we're on par with the Cowboys. And in my opinion, if we're ranking the teams, I have the Commanders at 2, and the Cowboys at 3, and the Giants at 4. I have the Eagles making the playoffs, obviously winning the division. I have us also making the playoffs at 9-8. But because the NFC is trash. The NFC is trash right now. We literally have the Rams, the Bucks, and the Bucks, and the Packers.
Even
I mean, I think that's fair because they did improve on defense, even though they did lose Devontae Adams. I think they added. Speaking of Georgia guys, I think they added 2 Georgia guys themselves, right, on defense, and they definitely added. But yeah, I mean, those are, I think, the top 3. I think the Rams are in tier 1, really, and then the other 2 teams are in tier 2. But those are the top 3 teams in the NFC.
I agree.
Who else after them? 49ers? Eagles?
I don't know.
49ers with Trey Lance? Cowboys?
Yeah.
Like I
I
literally
think
had
the
this
Cowboys
exercise
losing
with
Amari Cooper
Corey.
is going to be big. I'll keep
Yeah,
saying
exactly.
it's going to be
I didn't even
huge.
get to that. They lost Amari Cooper. I believe they lost some players on that defense as well.
On the
I
offensive
know
line,
Micah
too?
Parsons, offensive line. Micah Parsons is,
Oh, God.
and I didn't. And a lot of people are out there. Maybe Abdullah, you are one of these people who are like, oh, you wish that we got him and stuff. But like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I wish we didn't get him before the season or before the draft because of his off the field stuff. And who
Yeah,
knows, that
nah,
stuff might come up in the future. But like, I mean, he's the best defensive player in our division, bro.
I agree.
Best
He's
defensive player in
better.
our
He's
division.
better than Chase Young. That's not a debate.
Better than Jonathan Allen. Jonathan Allen's better than Chase Young right now. I don't care what people say, bro. Like, look at all these rankings. These cute player rankings. Jonathan Allen's in the top 100 players. Chase Young is not. Like, Chase Young has to prove it to me.
Comeback player of the year. Just one.
Yeah. I mean, I think the problem though is he might miss the first couple of weeks. So I don't know. But I'm rooting for Chase Young. Obviously, I mean Jonathan Allen too. They're both hometown guys, really. But yeah, I think I don't know why that shouldn't be controversial that Jonathan Allen's our best defensive player right now. Like, I don't think that should be controversial. But yeah, I again, Eagles won, us too. I have both Eagles and us making the playoffs, Cowboys missing the playoffs, and Giants in the rear view. But this also adds on to the whole Jalen Hurts is better than Carson Wentz thing that I strongly believe at this point might change during the season. But the Eagles last year, everyone said the Eagles were going to be the fourth place team last season. I don't know if you don't forget that. Don't forget that. I did. I know you did. And a lot of people out there did.
I can't argue that. Yeah.
And they got to the playoffs.
But look at that schedule, though.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
And what happens when they played a good team? They got blown out.
Okay. All right. That was also Jalen Hurts' second year. He's going into his third year. I think he's going to be make an improvement this year. So we'll see. But I have us being second. Mr. Optimistic Abdullah has us being third. Why is that, bro? Why is that?
Bro, it's because the Cowboys own us. Let's be honest, bro. They just do. I'm not scared of the
Cowboys. I'm scared of the Eagles. I'm not scared of the Cowboys.
Really?
I'm scared of one player. I'm scared of Micah. I'm not scared of anybody on that Cowboys team.
Yeah. Besides Mike, I'm not scared of anybody else. But I don't know.
I'm talking about like. I'm not saying like in terms of last year, me not being scared of anybody but Micah. I'm talking about this year, given the improvements that we made with our roster and how the Cowboys lost a lot of guys. I'm not scared of the Cowboys, except for one guy.
That's fair.
It's a big guy, but
okay.
And he could wreck our entire offensive playbook. So I'm not trying to undersell Micah Parsons here, but
yeah.
No, I mean Trevon Diggs.
No. Not scared of Trevon Diggs at all. I can't wait till we play Trevon Diggs in the Cowboys.
I mean, Tank Lawrence. I mean, some games he's on, some games he's not. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'm scared of the Eagles. Maybe some people aren't scared of either of those two teams, but it is what it is. Yep, right. We'll see, man. We'll see. I hope that happens. I think we all hope that happens. Thank you guys so much for a very lovely live stream tonight. We talked about everything: Wizards, Nationals, NBA, Commanders, Dax Mills situation. Oh my, bro, man. We talked about a lot of things, but shout out to everybody that joined the chat. This one was a pretty lively chat tonight. Everyone from Corey on the Warpath, also to Sports, Jerry's Corner, David DC, Protect Sports Network. I'm sorry I didn't even see that earlier, bro. Appreciate you, Tone. Go check out his channel. Go check out Corey's channel. Go check out everybody's channel. Refa District, David DC. Again, Andrew Oliveros, who hopefully we'll have a collab with in the future. Uptown Dre, Dubs Family, Roger Smith, Billy Solster, Farid Ayubi. I'm assuming that's a family member, right?
Yeah. The Cowboys fan.
Oh, yeah. Fight for All DC. Everybody, we appreciate it. Boski as well. Sorry I didn't get to every single comment, but hopefully in the future we will. Red Wings. I kind of saw this comment, forgot to hit it. But yeah, yep. But yeah, Robert Roberts, everybody. Appreciate you guys so much. And Abdul, anything you want to say before we sign off?
Commander Carson is gonna prove you wrong. That's all I want to say. Dan needs to sell the team. I can't wait till preseason. I'm so hyped. I miss football so much.
Yeah. I hope Carson Wentz proves me wrong. First game exactly. What's the date? Do you remember? September. Go look that up right now.
It's probably like first. I don't even know. It's just September.
I'll look that up. We are playing Jaguars. 9/11, September 11th, 1 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense that we're at home. But yeah, 1 p.m. I think that will be on. Oh, it doesn't have the TV schedule.
Probably
I'm assuming CBS. Yeah. But yeah, so there are the details, YouTube Gabriel. But yeah, appreciate you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the DAV Sports channel. We like to post fire content like this as much as possible. Abdullah has especially been grinding on here. Go and support my guy right here. Hopefully we'll give you guys more content on my end as well. But go follow our Instagram page, all lowercase DMV Sports Zone, Twitter page at DMV Sports Zone, TikTok, pretty much run by Abdullah at DMV Sports Zone as well.
Not to make an appearance soon, though. Don't worry.
Nah, Twitter is my thing, guys. Twitter's my thing. Where I can actually type things out. That's my thing. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you on the next one. Peace.